Hey y'all, I'm Brett Manning.
And I'm Madison, Sariah, and you're watching the Singing Success Show podcast.
So, unless you read the liner notes here, you're probably wondering who's Madison Sariah, or if you have been anywhere near Singing Success and our social media, you've seen her on there because she is our lead social media person. Because she's got the nice Snow White personality, but don't be surprised if she could kill you very easily because she is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And I hope I don't embarrass her by saying that she's one of the toughest human beings I've ever encountered at that age. Holy cow, she's tough. You don't want to fight her. I don't like grappling with her because she beats all the guys. Have you beat your dad yet?
No, he lets me though.
Oh, he lets you?
I almost took him down once. He wiggled. And I was like, that was close, but I didn't get it.
Her dad's a one-stripe black belt, and with time he'll be two, and you'll never be able to catch him. Why? Why can you never catch him?
Because he's mean.
no, because you're striped with your stripes of belt.
He's gonna get his degrees per every 3 years, then every 5 years. It's a whole thing.
Until you finally get up to a red belt.
Technically catch him, but
she'll beat him sometime. I caught him once, but I don't know if it was legit. If you catch
you never
him,
know if it's real.
And he won't tell you. He won't tell you because there's no ego in that, and that's part of what she's learned as a singer, is to just remove your ego. And there's a great moment that we can probably talk about on the podcast. I mean, today we're going to talk a little bit about her bio and how she became a coach and working on her artistry stuff still, and just a little history about her. And we're going to get into whistle voice, but you vocalized today at all?
I warmed up.
Okay, cool. So we'll probably talk about this moment when she was the song we wrote, and you'll see in the bio a link to the song that we did and we recorded. I had written the verse and not the verse, the verse that was it that da 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 da. I don't even remember. Do I not remember it? That's it. I remembered. Yeah.
Good. I'm surprised.
When you write so many songs, you're like,
they all blur together.
up to 2,000, it's just notes, right? It's about 2,300 now songs. Yeah. So if you think you're a songwriter, you might be, but if you've written a couple thousand songs and had a couple cuts, you probably are one. So I'd say as soon as you're doing it, you are that person. That's what you are. But we'll go through that verse, and I'll tell the story right now. She's gotten a lot of confidence from jiu-jitsu and singing together because they parallel each other.
Sure, yeah.
You kill your ego, and that's hard to do. I mean, when you
have to re-kill it.
Yeah,
over and over.
It's a zombie, right?
Yeah.
You twitch that twitching zombie. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that. Mm-hmm. And she was singing the chorus, and her voice was just exploding in her mix. And she can talk a little bit more about her history, about how light she started out. And some of you have seen some of our stuff on YouTube already where I interviewed her and talked about this. Started with a nice little, sweet little airy voice. And by the time she was 14, 15, exploding. And I think you were 17 still when you were singing that song.
Mm-hmm.
Not even
about 17, 16.
About 17. And one of my coaches came in. She was watching. She goes, "Oh my gosh, I just want to listen. Can I hear you?" And she's explosive. She goes, "You just come across. Why are you so confident?" And I said, "Don't you think it's your jiu-jitsu training?" She goes, "Yeah. I mean, when you're used to fighting guys all the time, you just, all right, whatever. Doesn't matter whether I win or lose. I just show up. There's no such thing as mistakes. It's just there is mistakes.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's no such thing as winning and losing in this way." Mm-hmm. Hoist Grace, he said, yeah, you either win. He said, you either win or you learn, not you win or you lose. Mm-hmm. Now, some people are addicted to losing as a form of self kind of defeat. First time you tapped me, I remember. So it was a tap, 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 and then taps me, and then I tap her. She taps me a couple times. I tap her a couple times. She taps me 5 times. I tap her once, and then I've never tapped her since. She's tapped me out. That means win. Tap out. You're not sure what that means. It's like you tap means I quit. I surrender. And that word surrender is important in singing. So, but I remember first time, and she had this beautiful arm bar, and she was trying to keep setting it, and she was like I think a little afraid at that point, if I can say this, maybe a little bit hesitant to throw it. I said, throw it. And I went, whoa, tap. And you kind of, I don't remember exactly how you hinted, like, yeah, but you said throw it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You tapped me. It was legit. Are you sure? Yeah, could I just rip my arm out there and pull it? Yeah, you can start punching a person in the face, but that's not jujitsu. It's not there are certain principles and rules. And same thing with singing. There's ways to hit the note and hit it wrong. And we know, we deal with that with people all day long. Yeah. But I'm hitting the note, but it ain't right. You're yelling, you're killing yourself. Yeah. You ain't going to keep your voice together. So she's never had a chance to literally learn to sing wrong. So I will shut up and let you talk a little bit about that.
About singing wrong?
About just your development, how you started out and how you've ended up where you're at now, working for the lead studio in the world, if I might say. Not because of me, because my coach is.
No, it's super cool. I kind of feel like my life was guided here because I didn't fully grow up and go, oh, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I was a kid. My dad was friends with you. He came home one day and he gave me the Singing Success program, the first one, I believe so. I sang in church a little bit, and then I got the program. He's like, here, do this. And I was kind of like, okay. So I just started practicing. Brett was kind enough to let me come in a couple of times to do some sessions with him. And then we kind of hit the decide whether or not you're going to get good or not phase, partly because of your generous time. It was a time where I would train a little bit, but not a lot. So I was doing enough to get by, but not to progress. So my dad gave me a firm talking to and said, like, you need to pick. Like, and it didn't matter. Like, I could choose not to, and that's fine. And I could choose to, and that's fine. But I had to decide so I wasn't wasting your time and ultimately my time, but very, very specifically your time, because that's a lot of money in this business. So
yeah, it's a lot of money.
I decided that I would train. So I had times where I'm like, okay, I have to hit 3 times a week. Okay, 4 times. And then there was a point where I was like, okay, just do 6 times. It doesn't matter. Like, just rest on Sundays. I value that a lot. And so I started training, getting better. And to be honest, I don't completely remember the biggest differences because I was a kid. It was my mom that noticed. She said I was a lot more, not necessarily quiet, but I wasn't super loud. And she said around 15 or 16, you got loud. So even like now when I'm messing with her, and I'm like, what? They're like, why are you so loud? I'm like, thank Brett. Go ahead and thank Brett for that. Yeah. So I started practicing, got older, became a nanny, pursued my voice, pursued jiu-jitsu, and I really enjoyed nannying. And then I had to figure out kind of what I was going to do for a job, and worked at a restaurant where I live. And Brett mentioned becoming a vocal coach. And I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but I had in my mind that I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I really wasn't. Like, I don't know fully. I know some of the reasons why, like their drive, and I was like, I don't know, because I was still training my voice, but not as hard as I used to be.
Yeah.
And I even kind of said I wasn't going to do it. And I thought, I didn't know if you heard me or didn't hear me, but I'm so glad you didn't, because you had me come in and take another lesson, and it like reminded me of why I liked it. And I was like, oh yeah. And so I was still thinking about it. And when I had to like decide whether or not I was going to be a coach, Brett texted me. He's like, hey, kind of like, we're running out of time. You got to pick. And I don't know what, I think it was God, obviously, but my heart completely went from, I'm not doing it, I know I'm not doing it, to you're doing it. And I still remember, because I was on the porch house sitting, reading it and being like, I'm doing it. Why am I doing it? I knew I wasn't going to do it until that moment, and then I was going to do it. So then I confirmed with you, became the coach, started training, and it was definitely the best decision, because I love being here. And I know that one phrase, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Now, I agree and disagree. It's still work.
It's still work, but it's fun.
Fulfilling, and it's fun. And
it's like some days you're so excited that you realize, I'd probably, if I were filthy rich, I'd probably teach just because I love it. I'd
still teach. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. 100%. Like right now, if the $1 million, if the clearance, whatever, the lottery, you hit the lottery and 37 million. Wow. I don't need to work anymore, and I'm gonna invest 10 million, live off the interest, and have 200,000 a year to blow.
Yeah.
I'm still teaching, and I've said this too. If one day I became a billionaire, and that's a distinct possibility that could happen, and that I'm still teaching. And they said, "What if you don't need to?" And I said, "Well, would I teach it? I probably wouldn't teach as much, honestly. I would, but I'd have to." And you do this and I do this. We teach people when we're not teaching. Somebody said, "Man, I don't know how do you get notes?" This girl in the coffee shop thing. I said, "Can you go?" She goes, which will be a nice segue into our whistle. I said, "Now go, stay groggy." She goes, She has a really airy voice. She goes, "Ooh, wait, what's that?" I did it a couple times, so she heard it. When she went, I said, "No, stay there." She goes, what is that? I'm just like squeaking. I said, "Absolutely, you're squeaking."
Uh-huh.
Now hold it. And I said, "Go, oh." She goes, "Oh," like a little girl's going to go, "Oh." I said, "Yeah, singing is just sound making." Never heard that before.
Yeah.
She didn't pay me a dime. She may have made me an extra coffee, though, and that was nice. But I could have paid for it just as easily. But, it was cool. I got to help her, and I'm always teaching. We're always teaching because we're passionate about it. It's like you say, something changes your heart. We're like, I'm okay with serving other people. Now, she's a great singer, great songwriter. She's got all that stuff going for her, too, and I still expect something to happen for her vocally in time. We don't know. Nobody can really predict that. There are certain things we've talked about in these podcasts, like 3 ways you can get label attention. There's all the rules of how to do it, but at the end, it's just a perfect storm, Who saw Ed Sheeran coming?
Right.
I didn't. I never saw that. When I first came, I go, I don't get it. And then I just listened to him one day for a long time, and I thought, I get it, man. He's compelling. And a lot of stuff is very simple, like I said before, 1, 5, 6, 4. I mean, it's, that's 1564 all the way through that song. Simplest chord progressions, and you don't see it coming, so you never know what's going to happen. But anyway, going back to the girl at the coffee shop, I kept having her do the squeak. I said, "Oh," and she'd do this again. "Oh," now think of whistle, like. She goes, "Wow, how do you whistle?" I said, "Well, do that with your voice." Go. She went, "Now hold that up." She went, "Oh my gosh, I'm not doing that." And in case you think I'm covering my mouth because I'm not singing, I'm trying to not hit the mic.
Yeah.
So I said, I trust it because I found it. Think about that. You trust it once you find it. And then you found it. Talk about when you found it. Do you remember it, or do I need to fill in the details?
You might have to fill in because I just remember going up the scale.
She kept going.
Being like, "Oh, that's good."
And the voice would kind of break, and you'd be like, I could see I don't think she had the understanding what was going on to be able to communicate exactly the words that, like, I'm breaking. I had to communicate, okay, so you're flipping there, but that's okay. Like, but there's this little hesitancy, like, is that okay if I go, I'd have this break. I said, yeah, it means you're letting go into a different coordination. And all that's happening when you're going to whistle is vocal cords are zipping up. So it just means they zipped up really fast. It's not a break. Mm-hmm. It's just a sudden, abrupt change in coordination. So, you learn when you're playing guitar, at first you can hear a lot of squeaks and a lot of sounds, and eventually it just starts to sound smoother. Your tone starts to sound smoother. Mm-hmm. So she would say, I don't know if you can break it. If you said, let it flip a little bit if you can.
Okay.
Her habits are too good. It's too good now. She can't break. Now, she could if I really made her. She'd sing and hard. She'd and flip. You can do that. Most girls, except for the girls that we work with, honestly, most girls are going to flip into the whistle if they get into it at all. And they, well, it's okay. At least you're doing it. I mean, people will criticize you no matter what you do. So just realize that.
Yeah. You can't win.
You can't.
Ever.
You see, I mean, you've had to do your own social media, and some people leave mean comments, and some people are super fans. It's weird. Mm-hmm. You're like, Do I deserve all this hatred? And a lot of people, remember, there's a lot of jealousy. Jealousy is a powerful emotion. It's capable of clouding a person's vision. Jealousy, also presuppositions, and pride. I mean, I'm not going to choose a side right now. In a personal one-on-one conversation, we can choose a side. But typically in any political conversation, both sides are like, I'm right and you're this tard or that tard. I thought it was politically incorrect to call someone retard because it's making fun of also people who happen to have mental disability. But now it's become on both sides of the aisle, you're a this tard, you're a that tard. Well, beat your chest. You just won the argument by calling somebody a tard.
Right. Thank you for the logical argument.
Yes, that was good. And I've seen these emotional arguments where people just go off on each other and they don't really look at, like, say, okay. And here's this thing you can do. You can say, if somebody makes an argument, you just write down point 1, point 2, point 3. Say, okay, what's the pros and what's the cons against their argument? You find you get your mind changed a lot. And if you think, well, I don't need my mind changed, then you got a huge ego. Because I know I need my mind changed all the time. That's how you learn. Learning implies something you don't know or something that you know falsely, wrongly. And one of my favorite, I'm not sure if you've heard of N.T. Wright or heard him quote, but he's a scholar, Bible scholar, teacher, and he says, and he's a British guy, he's very regal. He kind of comes from that C.S. Lewis camp there. And he says, when I write my books, I feel like that 80% of what I've said is deadly accurate. It's quoted the text of Scripture, and it's very consistent. And 20% of it is in gross need of correction. And the bigger problem that I have is that I don't know what percentage needs a correction. Now, that's pretty decent. N.T. Wright, First Nation, if I say so, because I've listened to him and I love his voice. So you learn that as you're going, like, yeah, there's things I don't know. And so for you, coming from your jiu-jitsu background, like, I don't know. She had this huge break. I'm not going to criticize her for it. And then suddenly it connected out. And you know what it was? I made you say the word "mo," which you do all the time. But you don't remember. Yeah, "mo." Can you explain in your own words why you think "mo" works so much in head voice?
The M is a nice grip. The O helps my larynx stay stable and release, and those were the two main things that I feel when
There's one other thing too it does. Think about what does it do to the soft palate? Brings it down. It's gonna break.
I didn't realize that.
So the funny thing I've discovered, and I'm not sure if anyone told you about this, because I have so many new whistle hacks, and you will have probably heard about these by the time this podcast comes on here, but new whistle hacks is I just keep my mouth really closed. I just
Okay.
try that. One more thing, isn't it? Just one more thing. It just keeps getting better. Just go ahead. So what happens if we do this? Give me a little go. Now, most girls want to be able to hit a high C, and that's admirable. But as you see, I'm starting her with C sharp as the high note. So we're just like, that's a starting point. C is a black belt. C sharp, this is moving towards a master as far as mastering your range. So we're going above black belt. Go ahead. Nice. Mo. Yeah. Sigh a little bit. Now that little bit of sigh helps her to drop into that whistle. Now go. There's a B flat above high C. Now, I haven't vocalized her through the set of lip rolls and all the other stuff that are necessary to get there. but she's at a B flat without really trying. Now, if you can't find your whistle one day, and by the way, is this the most necessary part? It's like literally the least necessary.
Yeah, but it's the coolest.
It's the coolest. It really is. When you sing that high. Were you there? I'm not sure if you were there the night I did. Victoria had me come sing for a thing. I was
On the piano?
Yeah, I was playing, and I had the leather jacket at the.
I think I watched the video.
Okay, the video, and I kind of hit that high note that on a complacency, and I'm talking and said, well, I was expected to do 4 songs. They told me I need to do 5, and I only prepared 4, and the problem is you write 2,000 songs. You're like,
sure.
yeah, and so
Sure.
while the other guy was singing, and I was listening to you, bro, and it was a great song, but I was trying to remember my words to write them down so I don't screw the song up. And so, anyway, I'm going to think Muse meets Queen meets Muse. And I started singing. And it's a pretty high song. It's the only high songs to do. I said, I don't usually like high songs because I feel like you're trying to show off, but I like the song. And everybody's talking really loud. Rah, 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 rah. And I get to the part to the... to the bridge. And it has this little pause part. And I pause, and all you hear this scream, ah! Everybody's losing their minds, and then talking as I'm going up. The talking, as I go up, the talking goes down. Systematically, you can hear it every time I hear it. And then I come back to the, I don't bend, 'cause I don't have to bend. So, and by that time, they're just losing it. And I'm not sure if you heard this, but it's one of the best things I can have. And when she sings up there, people are same thing. They're like, how did she do that? But somebody goes, whoa, who is this guy? Well, probably the best. I don't know who said it. Probably never meet him, but probably, hey, if you're watching this, that guy, call me. I owe you coffee or beer or whatever. Probably the best performance moment, just somebody saying that. Totally unexpected. Mm-hmm. So like you said, you don't need it, but it's like you don't need a Ferrari, but if you have one, you should drive it around once in a while. Mm-hmm. Talk about this. Let's go back to this connecting whistle to the rest of your voice. Talk to me about that a little bit.
About like figuring it out?
Yeah.
So actually I could talk a little bit. First finding it was more with Brett. So I was just doing what I was told. I didn't fully understand all the technical aspects of it. As I got older and I was starting to figure out what was happening, I started to lose the allowing and started forcing it. And I didn't realize it because I didn't know about this muscle. Mm-hmm. And I was working with Chanel's becoming a coach, and I was like, this comes down a little bit, the digastric muscle. It's your swallowing muscle. And she was talking about it and like, yeah, you don't want that happening. And I was like, oh no. But I could still get through. Like, a lot of people didn't know it was happening, but I knew it was happening. So I had to kind of fix it and reteach this to disengage and do a lot of allowing. And one of the things that y'all always talk about is light and right is better than strong and wrong. Mm-hmm. So I would do a lot of, it's strong, everything's right except this. Mm-hmm. So instead of right, it was almost right. So I had to rework, pull my voice back down a little bit, and really focus on everything being technically correct. The larynx being right, this muscle being disengaged, and being okay if it didn't connect. And that's a lot what I talk about with other people, because they'll force it, they'll squeeze it, and if it shakes, they're, like you said, kind of embarrassed almost. And it's like, don't be embarrassed. It's like, that's okay. That's everybody. Welcome to the club. This is not an easy place to sing. So being okay with it breaking, I had to do that where I'd go, and it would just be breath. Yeah. And then eventually it'd start cleaning out. Ben Waits. Yeah. He can hit somewhere up here, just randomly. Just. Yeah, he can get like one out. Yeah, he just finds it. And I can only find it every so often, and I'm trying to work to connect it. But that helped, finding that, but just learning how to thin out, allowing it. And the more, I almost feel like the less force, the more opportunity to connect there is. So yeah, it's a lot of letting go. And even when y'all talk about temps and like the mental place you have to be in, if you're too controlled in your life, I think that can also connect here. I'm very much, I don't like things out of my control. I like feeling safe, whether it's my car, finances, job, it doesn't matter. I'm like, I need everything safe. Everything has to be okay. So with my voice, I like having control. Like, I'm gonna hit the note. So it's hard for me to be okay with not hitting the note, even ego-wise. I'm like, no, I'm Brett's double high C girl. Like, or yeah. And I'm like, not today, but like most of the time. So I have to work on allowing and doing that, letting go, fighting that ego, allowing the voice to connect has been more profitable than when I'm feeding the ego and forcing it.
Have you had days? Sounds like a rhetorical question. You're not sure what a rhetorical question is, the one that assumes an answer before you even ask it. Rhetoric. I'm sure you've had days where your whistle just wouldn't come, and then by the end, it was like the best it had ever been. Like days where like today just not working, and then teach a full day or half a day or whatever, or you just vocalize a little bit through the day and you forget about it and you come back to it and like, whoa, never done it this well ever.
Yeah, I've had sometimes waking up in the morning when I'm like, let's just see what we got to work with today, and I was like, oh. And sometimes it comes from having a hard day the day before, and I'm like, oh, my voice is tired, but then it squeaks up.
And do you know why it works when it's tired? Better?
Your muscles don't engage as much because they're worn out.
Yes. Well said. Somebody pays attention.
I try.
I try.
I don't want to get fired.
I took notes. I took notes. But yeah, what happens is your voice gets so tired, and that's how I found my whistle. Do you know how I found my whistle?
Wasn't it like cold outside
Yep.
and you were sick?
Playing football. I wasn't necessarily sick. We were playing football on a Sunday, my friends and I was supposed to lead worship Sunday night, and I was trying to warm my voice up. We were playing tackle. Justin and your dad, a bunch of guys. Yeah. I did not like getting tackled by your dad. He wasn't as big.
Way.
Yeah, I like, throw the ball.
Take the ball.
Here, just throw it throw it out of bounds like a running back, you know. So I could run a little bit faster, and I'd sprint past him and take a catch. But even then, man, he hit us, and it hurt, and bones would hurt, you know. We used to play with that tackle football without helmets and anything, just tackle it. That's tough. I got respect for rugby players. Either that or no respect.
Yeah, I'm like, you're either really brave.
Yeah. Hey, don't you guys get concussions? You know? Yeah, questionable. But we played so hard, and it was it was hot and cold, the sweating, and then you get all the mucus coming up, and your body's trying to adjust. My voice was like this when I got in. I was like, mama, 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 like choo choo. You know, I can still make that sound. That oh, well, that's interesting. And I had just heard Mariah Carey. She'd been out for a little while, and I'd try to hit those notes. She'd go, I can't. Those, like, you ever seen the meme or no? It was a GIF or whatever. GIF is with sound, right?
I think it's GIF, but it should be GIF or something like that.
Whatever. Like, I don't know all that stuff. I don't know how things work. I don't know how life works. It's just too hard. But technology, I got people for that. But this little GIF or GIF, and it shows a girl. It says me trying to sing Mariah Carey, and the girl's Mariah goes. And then she goes to sing it and shows a goat coming and goes, yeah. That's me trying to do it. It's one of the funniest things ever. But that was kind of me. I was that girl, and I couldn't do it. And I hit the squeak. I was married at the time, and my wife goes, dude, that's hurting your voice. I said, no, it doesn't hurt. And eventually, I got her to do it. Found a day her voice was groggy, and she went up there, and I'm not sure you know, the lovely and charming Colette goes to an E above a double high C back then. She did the whistle on all the demonstrations in the first Singing Success program.
Oh, that's really really cool.
Yeah, she went up there, but she had a huge break-in going into it, and eventually, but it seems like you got in there really explosively because it let go so much, and it let go because you didn't know. Think about that. You let go when you don't know. That's both good and bad. In the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing, it's good. If you let go because you don't know, in the hands of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and usually you know what they're doing by their track record.
Sure,
We have a track record here.
Yeah.
But there's some people, oh, I'm just letting go. No, you're yelling your head off. That's not a mix. She gave it that familiar eye roll that you'll see from me because we're like, yeah, man, this is not right. So I'm working with a girl right now, and she came in, she was yelling a little bit. Really talented young singer. And now she's doing the Jota song, and she's killing it. And she has that. She goes, I can't believe I just hit that note. She's like 13. She's like, how am I doing this? She's like, I can't believe I can hit that note. I said, because you don't yell. If you yell to a B, you won't hit this. You won't hit the B, the E, because that's the second bridge. A, B flat B, one bridge. E, F, F sharp, another transition. And you can hear when you and I do when we go, you can hear a transfer of resonance from the mouth to the head. And you see us do this all the time. This is what I came up with before. You see other people say, go behind the soft palate. But what I have done is created the visual image of the letter C in the back of your throat. But the letter C tilts out of the mouth on the bottom. And as you go up, the C literally climbs further behind the soft palate. Give them a couple of those. Give them a couple more. And then it gets rightfully very thin on the top. Somebody said, well, that ain't full voice. You can't take full voice up there.
Good luck.
Yeah. Your vocal cords are zipping up. A smaller vibrating surface. It's like this. It's not as full as it can't be. You can't just tighten the string. Instead of having a tighter string, you have a shorter string. You look at the piano, strings get smaller and smaller to go higher instead of stretching them higher, because then they would have different tensile strength. As you press, there would be stress on that. Same thing with the guitar. It's why it's equally tempered for a thinner string as you go higher. And the guitar, I'm not sure if I ever told you this, might be mind-blowing. If I had an acoustic around here. Is there an acoustic sitting over there? No? Oh, he's going to get acoustic. Very interesting little side note we'll talk about here. That the guitar, I'm not sure if you've heard this, is set up like the human voice. Thank you, my brother. An arm coming. That's the mighty arm of Dallin Beck.
Dallin!
He's got those cannon arms, you know. I'm embarrassing him right now.
Jim is this way.
So yeah, this way. This is a bass. This is a baritone. This is a tenor. This is a mezzo. This is an alto. This is a mezzo, and this is a soprano. That's it. Bass, thick, baritone, tenor. And guess where the tenor rings right here, mid-range. Guess where the bass resonates in the bottom. The voice is, the guitar is like a voice. Here's the bridge. Chest, middle, head. You know why this is thinner in the middle? So it doesn't compete with the voice.
Oh my God.
It takes out a lot of mid-range.
Uh-huh.
If it's too mid-range, it can compete with the voice. Unless the voice, and Dallin can tell you, is this mixing all the time. Certain voices have some timbres and the frequencies don't compete. So when I did The Beautiful Us, I was driving Malcolm crazy because I was doing called formant. Formant is where you use this type of resonance and this resonance on one note. Because I can say,
This is my favorite song of yours.
I can say, I'm in a mix thin, but I can add a formant by reshaping things, dropping my larynx, and get some more explosive. I can say, resonance and then very little resonance, which is what freaked me out because she had formant. And if you don't know what that looks, it just means to make sound, but think of adding yeast. She had those, and I was trying to explain to her 50, I don't know. We're singing. I still remember over on 29th, your dad was there and was like shaking his head like, wow. We're singing Dos Ponces. And he goes, "The love, da, 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 oh, your love, so, da, da, da." I wish I could remember the lyric. What's that?
Is it Tore Us Apart?
Tore us apart. And she hit that, the room shook. Believe it or not, she doesn't have a big voice. She is a coloratura, a lyric soprano, capable of projecting very big. It's a bigger voice than Celine Dion's. She is the lightest of the coloraturas. You're a coloratura. You're not a dramatic soprano, which I thought she might be when she was younger, but just a very light, thin voice that projects very large. So we were writing this song back in the day, and I remember you were singing that. Let's just see if we can do it. You remember that?
We'll find it.
Your terrifying victims go from the
Is that the right key?
Yep. Okay, so ready? If
you're cherry picking victims, going for the cage, attack a trained assassin, go express your rage with your bad, with your bad, with your bad
I still remember.
I got nervous.
And what happens if you get too nervous?
You squeeze more?
Yes, you'll overcompensate.
Yeah.
You usually sing too hard. What percentage of singers overcompensate when we sing live? 100%.
Okay,
Yes,
I was gonna
all of
say.
them. 100%.
Oh.
And what is the solution to overcompensation? Partly, I mean, great technique, obviously, but you can like have great technique and get on the stage and still overcompensate because you have the nerves. So a solution to that overcompensation is simply experience. It's kind of the same thing. The nerves leave with stage time. You have to get on the stage. You have to perform. And you got to be a place where I just don't care. If I hit a bad note, like whatever. But there's a little of us like, I must get this right. Like you say, the desire to be in control and you have to hold on to it is a bad thing. Yeah. And you have to fight it. You have to like, okay, if I suck really bad, who cares? Because when I was singing the thing, and I literally have not warmed up today, on purpose, I want to keep a little deeper resonance on my microphone. You know, I just like it.
Sound nice and manly.
Yes, I like to get that, especially if I'm going to do my Sean Connery. I can't be fully warmed up doing a Sean Connery. If all you have to remember is that he can't yell. Did you know that?
I did not.
You know, when he gets mad, he goes, "That guy, I know that guy. He's a bastard." His voice collapses. Goes, "Huh."
Oh, that's interesting.
Huh. You remember Kurt and Corkle back in the day? Kurt couldn't yell. He'd go, "Hey." He'd try to get him to project you. "Hey." And he'd say, "Yo." He'd sing right here. Neither can Neil Diamond. "Today we come into America." I said to my mom, who sang with him, she said, in Vegas, she said, what I was doing, I would go, "Today we come into America." She goes, no, it's quieter. "Today we come." She goes, "It's quieter." "Really?" When they go, "Bum, bum, bum, good times never last." She goes, "No, it's quieter." You just eat the microphone. And he only had an octave and a half range. And he's in the 100 million club because he sold 146 million records. So in case you think you need all that range, you don't need it. But if you have it, use it, because as you go up, the talking noise goes down, like I said. And that's why next time, no, I don't think, have you literally performed your, I mean, you've done some hi-hat stuff and some of your stuff, but have you literally performed your whistle live in some?
I don't think, I did one in a group, like at my house before, but not like on a microphone.
So our next thing, we'll post it up here somewhere, put it in the link. I want you to hear her, "Where's Your Bow?" That's going to be in the link. But our next time you go out to sing, we'll have to work up something where you go up in your whistle and just trip people out. They're like, ah. But you even know that, even as I say, there's a little bit of natural nervousness that come in. Look, nerves are a good thing. They're not. I mean, you can take drugs and get over those nerves. That tells you there's something wrong with you if you have to take drugs to get over nerves, because they're there for a purpose. They teach you. Nerves teach you. Fear is a great teacher. It often teaches you this: you're not ready. The more ready you are, the more those nerves go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you know, I was hard for our friend to come to jiu-jitsu after all this time. Just that nervousness. I know I'm going to get beat. Elvis Presley, who was the king of doing well with his nerves, he made his legs shake because it was a place to put his nerves. That's what he did. I needed a place to put my nerves, so I'll shake my leg. That is so amazing.
That's really cool.
And then he turned it into this rhythm. It's like, I'm just hitting that rhythm.
Thing.
Yeah, it was this thing, you know, and all that shaking thing. But he stood there like a fighter because he was a professional fighter, trained in multiple martial arts, and he had that relaxed thing. And I said, you know, remember how they used to talk like this, Ed Sullivan? Isn't that funny how they used to all talk like that? American accent, like, why, you don't go here, you know, what I'm like that. You know, have you ever seen that comedian? It's like, he says, "Well, someday maybe you could be like, like this."
Well, I declare.
Yeah, like I do declare. There's kind of a weird. There was the American accent has changed, and like the British has changed too over the years. But he goes, Ed Sullivan, tell us about your martial arts training. Has that helped you with your performance? Has it helped you deal with your nervousness and all these things? And he said, well, it's not, but not for the reason you think. And he said, well, I would think it's because you feel like you could beat everybody up in the audience. He goes, no, I just know that I've been beat up a lot of times and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
That's profound. It ain't that bad. It's not that bad, huh? I mean, every time I've choked her, she's like, I tried to try this and finally sink in a choke. Like, it doesn't matter. If you watch two people from our gym throwing down jiu-jitsu, you don't know who got tapped after. You don't, because no person's puffed up and the other person's all sulking. I mean, both are what they call it peacocking. Like walking like, yeah, I feel good. I just fought. Doesn't matter who won or lost. It's a cool thing of learning, and that's the same thing. And when you get that type of confidence on stage, you're like, Elvis Presley makes a mistake, and you like him more.
Yeah, he's way cooler.
Yeah, he is. He's cooler.
He doesn't care.
No. Whatever. You ever see the one where he's like, "Since my baby left me"? You see that one?
I think so. Where he's like, "Start over again."
And he goes, hot dog. Woo. He goes, woo. He goes, man, I'm running out of breath, guys. It's just another suit jack. Boom, 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 boom. And then his face is just like this. His face doesn't change. He's, well, since my baby left me, found a new place to dwell. He doesn't go, no, I'm singing in my singing voice. He doesn't change his posture. He's talking, and he starts singing. He just looks up and starts singing. And just the stone cold assassin look that he has in his face, like, I ain't afraid of anybody here.
Yeah.
And if I make a mistake, you're going to like me more. Yeah. That is one of the keys to us teaching performance end of the voice, is to get you to where you just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you see me a couple of times on stage, not a lot, but I think you get just enough to think that I don't care. I've been kicked in the face too many times to care about this. And it's funny, like the UFC fighters, how many of them say, no, I don't get nervous before a fight. I would think you'd be scared to death.
I'd be sick.
I'd be like, oh, my stomach's hurting. I didn't want Holly Holmes to knock me out, you know. I mean, that girl hit so hard.
Walk in and
just like kind of crawl in and tap on the back. Go like this. Jump on the floor. You win.
You're so good.
You know? But it's like, and it's what Mike Tyson says. He says, yeah, everybody got a plan until you punch him in the mouth. You know? Everybody feels all, go in there, you get hit in the mouth one time. And singing, sometimes you get on stage, you get punched in the mouth. Well, singing, when I say sometimes, it means every time for the first 100 times. And then every other time for the next 100 times. And then about 1 out of every 10 times after that. And then you see people like Vince Gill who can't miss. So anyway, if you haven't studied with any of us, we invite you to come here. And Come visit Nashville or visit us on Skype. If you don't have our programs, you can click down below to get this. This isn't a sales pitch. Oh, yes, it is. It is a sales pitch.
That's okay.
These podcasts, we typically don't like to talk about our programs. We like to talk about just stories in the music industry that hopefully compel you to be a deeper musician, a deeper artist, and a more passionate one. Thanks for joining us.